My name is Annie Yagelski, and I'm the technology trainer for the Downers Grove Library. This class is numbers basics. We just get into basics. I'm not going to get into anything really deep, but if you need something deep, we'll see if we can help you with that. My co-host today is Sue Slamar, and she's right here. So,
hi, everyone.
Yes. So if you have any questions, you can mute yourself if you want. If you don't, we might have to mute you. But if you have any questions, either put it in the chat or just unmute yourself and ask. So I think we're going to wait a few more minutes to start because we do have a few people. And we'll wait a couple minutes. I do have a poll that I'm going to ask you a question about if you know numbers or not, but we'll wait to do that. So, okay. I just got done with everything today, so I'm like, ah. So, okay, any questions? Okay, we'll wait a few more minutes and then we're going to start.
No rain yet today. That's a good thing.
That is.
Who knows whether we'll get a little or not.
They said tomorrow. They
Tomorrow?
said, yeah, they said that this is the smoke from the Canada fires.
Oh.
But they did say it was cloudy too. You know, it is cloudy, but most of the haze is coming from the Canada fires.
Okay. Well, I think we're going to start. It is a little after 2, and if anybody comes in, they're just going to be a little late. That's fine. We are going to send out the student guide, and also I'm going to probably send it out on Friday, though, because I just got done with it and I want to read it. So, and we also are going to send you a list of links where you can get more training if you need it. We are always available for questions, and if you need to come in with any questions and we need to help you one-on-one, that's fine. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to launch a poll, and I just want you to answer the question so that we sort of know how to gauge this class. So I'm going to launch the poll right now, and it's about numbers and Excel. And if you could answer the poll, that would be nice. And if you don't know how to do that, okay, good. Okay, good. We have never used it. I'm going to end the poll now and we can see the results. And most of you have never used it. And Excel, you have used it a little bit. It is a little different than Excel. I have to say, looking at it, I thought, but I am going to use some of these spreadsheets, especially the templates. I think that's where numbers shines. It's in the templates. And I'm going to share the results. This is the poll, and I'll share the results too. You can see how many have used numbers, not many, and you have used Excel, which is good. Some of the things will translate very well. Some of them, it's just, you have to think a little differently, and that's what it is. So I'm going to end the poll. And I'm going to close it out. Okay, so I can't show you how to get onto numbers, but if you have used a Mac, all you have to do is either go to the launch pad and click on it and find it that way, or there is a search button at the top of the desktop and you click on that and you would just type numbers and it would come up. So Zoom will not let me do that, which is fine. In your book, it's going to show you how to get to it. It's fairly easy. And if you have to have a Mac or an iPad to have numbers. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the numbers environment. So I'm going to share my screen. I think I'll go to this. Okay. The first time you go into numbers, you're going to see this, and this is where number shines. It's a template. I see myself. Okay. This is a template. And you can download any of these templates. Probably the easiest one is to download a blank template, but they have beautiful templates here. And you can see that I downloaded, my recent is Simple Budget, which I was very impressed with. But this is where you need to be. Don't reinvent the wheel. You're going to probably download a template, but we are going to start from scratch so you know how it works. So I am going to click on blank. And then I'm going to click on create, or you could just double click on blank. Okay, can you see a blank spreadsheet?
Yes.
Okay, so
Oh,
this
it's
is the
got
table.
numbers in it.
There's nothing in it.
No, this one says projected sales results.
Okay, so I got to do another screen share. So right there. Okay. So when you open up a spreadsheet, you can see it now with nothing, right?
Yes.
Okay, this is a blank spreadsheet and you can change the way it looks by the side. This is called the inspector at the side. This will come up and you can change the way it looks. If I want it to look like this, it'll look like this. I can have it look like this. I'm just going to keep it very vanilla. I also can get rid of the title. The title, unlike Excel, is a text box. It's not one of the cells that you make into the title or you go into page setup. You can toggle it on, toggle it off. You can also add a caption to this. If I wanted to, I could add a caption at the bottom. I'm gonna leave the title on and I'm gonna show you how to get rid of cells and how to add cells. When you click on the table, you're gonna see these little circles with 2 lines. If I move this circle to the left, it gets rid of columns. And I'm going to go down the screen and I'm going to find the circle that has 2 lines that are horizontal. I'm going to move them up and that's how I can get rid of rows. So it's fairly easy. I also could do it from the inspector. This is called the inspector. So I could just say, okay, I want it to be 4 rows and 4 columns. If I wanted to add columns or rows, I would just drag down and it would add them. Or I could do it from the inspector. So it's fairly easy. And I could just add another column. Hold down your left mouse button and drag. In this case, it's not letting me for some reason. So I'm just going to do it this way. I'll add another column this way. So I've got 5 columns and 5 rows. If you wanted to move this at the very top of the table, these are called tables, and you can have more than one table on a sheet. And you can see right here, there's sheets. Just like Excel, you have workbooks, and on workbooks, you have sheets. So if I wanted to move this table for some reason around, I could position my cursor on this circle, hold down my left mouse button and drag. And I can put it anywhere I want. Okay. The other things that you have in numbers, I'm getting my little, I was thinking Excel, but that's not right. Click on right here to view. This is where you find and replace. If you are collaborating, which we'll talk about later, you can hide the comments. You can also show the rulers. I don't know how useful the rulers are, but I'll leave them on. Okay. Next to that, you can make the spreadsheet bigger so you can see it better. I'll leave it at 150. Okay, add categories. Right here, you can see you have column A, column B, column C, column D, column F. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a header row. So in this one, I'm going to type district. And then I'm going to type Q1 quarter. Q2, didn't let up. Q3, Q4. So then I can type east, north, south, west. Okay, so if I wanted to make these I don't know, wanted to center these right here on the table. I'm going to go to cell. I don't know if I do it in cell. I don't think so. Yes, I do it in text. So from the inspector, I have to go to text and I have to click on down here, the text, and I can make it centered. Okay, any questions? Okay, when I click on add category now, you can see that it has district, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. The other thing I can do is I can insert, and this would be if I wanted to insert a formula. So these are formulas. You can insert the formula from here, or you can insert a formula from the bottom. And I'm just gonna probably show you how to do it from the bottom. The other thing is a table. If I wanted to insert a new table, I would click here. And these are the tables. This one right here, this is basic. This is just plain. This is a list, a checklist. And right here, and they're in your book what they are. So I'm not really, this one is interactive, it's stocks. So if you know the ticker to a stock, you can actually do an interactive table that will go into the internet. And if you put the stock, it will update your stock portfolio. So it's a nice feature, but I'm not going to go into that today. So if you wanted to add a new chart, maybe like here, it will add a new chart onto the worksheet. And if you don't want it, you can do a Control Z to get rid of it. Or if you wanted to get rid of it and later, you would just click on it and cut it. So let me do it again, just so you could see, because I thought, oh, I could just get rid of it and delete it, but no. So I'm going to click on it and I'm going to right click. And I got to find cut. Click the whole table. And I'm going to click on that little circle. I'm going to click on cut and it takes the whole table out. So if you don't want the table, just click on the circle and click cut and it's gone. Okay, so this is how you have a table. You can chart. We're not going to get into charts today. Text. You can change the text of the table. Let's say I wanted, this is the header row. And if you go into the table, you'll see that I have the title right here. It's actually the header for the whole worksheet. I can change the text on it. So if I wanted to go to text and I could maybe make it impact. And then it's going to say, I want to update it. Nah, I don't want to. But what it did is it added a text box. So I did something wrong. That's okay. I'm going to just Control Z to undo. Command Z, I mean. So you can do that. You also can add a shape if you want. We're not going to get into that. We also can add media. Basically, you can add photos. You can go to your image gallery. If you wanted to, you could add a movie. I don't know how useful that would be, but and you also can add comments. You can collaborate, which we're going to get to later. Right here, this is the inspector. So if you unclick either of these things and it's not clicked, the inspector goes away. If I want the inspector to come back, usually shows up on its own, but if for some reason I can't get it, I click here, and this is a format inspector. I have to click on the table and then it goes table, cell, text, arrange. If I wanted to organize, it would click here. And basically organizing means sort and filtering. We're going to look at that a little later. So let's look, see down at the bottom. Okay. So one thing that's different, and I don't know if you can see it because I have this, I got to move it. Okay. Down at the bottom is where the formula bar is. Now this to me was very odd, but that's okay. And it tells you what you have in, I clicked in cell A2 and it tells me that I have text and it's East. So it tells me what type of things you can put in. You can put text, you can put numbers, and you can put formulas in. So let me put some numbers. You can see now there's a number. So I'm going to put some more numbers here. And maybe I'll put a formula in here. So when you type the equal sign, it brings up formulas, and then your inspector changes. It brings up all the formulas. And I'm going to type some, and I'm just going to do a little thing. We're going to go into other things, and I'm just going to drag it over. So I type sum B2 equals C2. And to accept that, I can double click with my left mouse button, or I could just click on this little check mark. And I'm going to click on the little check mark. And now you can see down here, there's a formula. It shows there's a formula, and the formula is sum B2 colon C2. So if I change this to, it's going to change the thing. Okay, any questions? Okay, well, that's how you navigate numbers. Just like Excel, if I want to go to the next cell, I click on the tab key. And if I click tab, it gives me an extra row. If I don't want it, I can just Control Z. Control Z is undo.
Command.
Command Z, I'm sorry. Command Z is undo on a Mac. So anytime you hit the tab key and there's nothing there, it's going to give you a new column. To go down, I just hit the return key. To go back, I hit Command, Shift, and Tab. Oh, that's not going to do it. Well, you can also use your cursor keys. So, and the cursor keys are the arrow keys. Any questions? Okay. So, if I want to add a sheet, first of all, I can give my sheet a name. Right up here, it says sheet 1 by default. It's going to be sheet 1. I can click on the down arrow and I can rename it, or I can just double click on sheet 1. And I can call this test. Okay. And if I want to change the table name, this is a text box. It is not part of the table. I'm going to click in here and I'll change it to expenses. Okay, and I also can change here I can change and I can make the text box bigger if I want to, but also when you click on the table, you can add a caption. And I could put expenses, I could put 2020 and I'll do ampersand 2021. Or if you want to, if you were using this in your business, you could put your business title if you want to. You can insert a logo. You could do anything you want to. So, okay. So to add another sheet, you just click on the plus sign right up here. And by default, it's going to add the same table that you had before. If you want a different table, I would cut it. I would go up here, I would right click, I would cut it because it's going to just add another table. And I would click on table and it gives you examples of table from up here. And maybe I would like this. And this is a checklist. So maybe I want to do a checklist. And so I'm going to pick this one and I'm going to click on it. And if I want to just have 5 things or 3 things, I can go this way. And if I just want to have 1 thing, I can go here. So I can go to grocery store. Then I can go get gas. So if I do it, I just click in there and it gives me a little check mark. So that's cool. Okay, so that's how you add a sheet. Any questions?
No.
Okay, good. So we went through that. To how changing our table looks. Okay, I'm going to open another sheet. So I'm going to go to stop the share. And I'm going to go to a new share. And I think I'll go to class examples. Okay. Okay, so sometimes this didn't change. Okay, it's not changing.
What do you want to change to? That's a different one.
Mine isn't different.
It says that projected sales, like the one you had up before.
No, mine didn't change.
Hmm.
Mm-mm.
It's
Okay, I'm
coming up
gonna
as- what we're seeing
I'm
is
gonna close
projected-
this one.
Yeah,
I'm gonna close this one because it won't cancel.
but do you want the sales? Because then you have absolute, sort, expenses, and autofill?
Yeah, that's what I want.
What do you
Okay.
want?
So right here, I have sales. Let's see which one I want. Yeah, I'll go with this one. Okay, so I just put in some numbers. So I want all of these to look the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all of these cells. I'm going to click on cell. And then I'm going to click on the down arrow next to multiple. And I am going to select currency. Then it's going to ask me, how many decimals? I think I'll just do 0. Okay, do I want 1,000 separator? Yes, I do. Do I want it accounting style? Accounting style makes the dollar go to the left. I like that, so I'm going to say yes. Okay, then here, and it's not going to let me, but if this wasn't grayed out, this is how I would have negative numbers. But right now it's grayed out because there's no negative number, so it's not going to let me do it, but it can. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to format this. So let's put in some more numbers. I'm going to put in some really big numbers. I don't know. I know why. So it's not taking over the format, but that's fine. So I'm going to go back to cell. I'm going to click here. I'm going to go to currency. 1,000 separated. Okay, great. Okay. And then I'm going to have 0 decimals. Okay, good. So I'm just going to repeat this. To repeat a number or to repeat anything in numbers, you look for this little handle. Can you see it? It looks like a little yellow thing.
Yes.
You just drag down. And since I had 2 of these selected, it's going to add things together because it sort of knows what to do. And so if I wanted to repeat everything this way, I would position right here and look for the little handle and drag it that way. And it's just going to repeat that because I didn't. So that's how you add, that's how you format cells. You can also add colors. So for some reason, if I wanted East Kent to be colored, I'm just going to highlight that. I'm going to go to cells. I'm going to click from the inspector. This brings up a color wheel. I can actually, if I wanted to, I could pick a color. I don't really have any color that I want to pick, but let's say I wanted to pick this yellow again. I'm going to click here. This is an eyedropper. I'm going to go to the eyedropper and then I'm going to
Why
click.
don't you go to the bathroom and we'll go shortly. I'll just not finish this class. We'll go to the park shortly.
So it should pick up the number, pick up the thing. It's not doing it, but it should. So it should pick up the eyedropper, should pick up this, and then it should pick up this. And let's see if it does. No, it's not. For some reason, it's not, but it should. I apologize for that, but oh well. So you can change the color of anything if you need to, as I change the color right here. So the other thing that you can do is you can use conditional formatting. So conditional formatting is just like in Excel, if you've ever used it. I'm going to highlight right here. And I'm going to click on conditional highlighting. And I'm going to click on add rule. And it's going to bring up this little menu. And I'm going to say greater or equal to, and this is going to be green, and I'll put 100,000.
Wow.
Well, look how big those things are.
Mhm.
And then I'm going to click on done. And it's going to show me everything that's 100,000. So if I wanted to add another rule, I would click show highlighting rules. I'd click add a rule. And I can say less than, and it's going to make it red. I can change this if I want to. I can click on the down arrow. And maybe I'll just make it red text. It's just not overwhelming. And I'll make it less than 200. And click enter and then click done. And there's only one that's less than 200 and it made it red text. So you can do that just like you can do with Excel. You can do conditional formatting. And that's nice. We're not going to get into charts today. If we get into charts, the charts are going to be part of the template. But it's sort of nice because conditional formatting is very visual and you don't need to have a chart in order to see it. So if someone says to you, well, how are they doing? You can do a conditional formatting and you could give the spreadsheet to someone. They say, oh, okay, green's good, red's bad. Also, I want you to look at the bottom of the screen, just like in Excel. When you have something highlighted, it gives you a sum, an average, a minimum, a maximum, and counts. You can't add to this, just like in Excel. You can add some more, but this is what it gives you, and that's very nice. So if you need to know something really quickly, you would just highlight it. I'm gonna, of course, it's not letting me, but let's say I wanted to know the average of these two. I would just highlight it. It says the sum, the average, the minimum, the maximum, and the count. So the count is 2. So I have 2 things highlighted, and it's going to show me that at the bottom. So that's nice. And that is what Excel does too. So, okay, any questions?
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
This is going back just a few steps. When you had the little yellow button in the middle and you pulled it down,
Uh-huh.
in your example, it added those things up. In mine, it just repeats. For example, I had the number 456 at the top,
Okay.
the yellow button, and it just repeated it. So what did I do wrong?
You have to grab 2 things. You can't just grab one. If you grab one, it's called autofill, and I can do that now. So I'm gonna, can you see autofill now at the top? It has,
Yes.
it's the blank thing. Okay. So autofill, and this works the same in Excel. So let's say I wanted to number something. So I just put 1, and if I grab down, it's just gonna repeat the 1. So you have to give numbers, just like you have to give Excel, you have to give it a pattern. So I'm going to click 1, and I'm going to highlight 1 and 2. And then I'm going to drag down. Then it does it.
I had done, a pattern 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9, and then 10, 11, 12, that pattern, and then
Uh-huh.
it didn't. So right now I do not see the header where it says autofill. Why would I not? I don't have an autofill here.
No,
So-
you don't. This is, this works in any, this would work in any spreadsheet, any table. So you don't have to worry about autofill. It's called autofill, but I just clicked on autofill so that you could see how it works.
Okay.
So you would type, let's say you're going to do it by 5s. I'm going to type 5. Then I'm going to type 10. Okay, now I got to highlight 5 and 10. Then I'm going to find the little yellow button, and I'm going to drag it down. And it goes
Okay,
5,
okay,
10,
now-
15, 20, 25, 30. It would also do it across.
Okay, now I got it. Thank you.
Yeah. The other thing about autofill, which is nice, actually, does it do across? I think it does. Yeah. No. Okay. It does it across. I'm going to have both of them selected, and it will do across too. Another thing about autofill is nice is just like in Excel, you can do January, February, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. I'm going to do Command Z, Command Z, Command Z. Okay, so I'll do January. Then I'll drag it down, and it does the months. Does the days of the week. And it also does dates. So I'm going to put in January 15th, 2021. Drag it down, and it does dates. Excel does not do that. So I think Excel would if you highlighted both cells. You'd have to highlight 15 and 16, then it would do it. This just does it automatically. It just knows. So that's nice. It's nice things the numbers has. So, and you can see when I did the dates, the inspector pane changes. So I can change it to something else, but autofill is very, very nice, and it is in Excel, but I think it's easier to use in numbers, which surprises me. So, okay. The next thing I'm going to show you how to do is freeze headers and columns.
I have a quick question before
Uh-huh.
you, on the previous screen, you lost some lines. How did you lose those lines? And it was the very first one. I think.
Sales.
Right.
I don't know how I lost the lines. Probably, I don't know.
Because, because I've had trouble with that. How if it was very
Right
important-
here, when you're on
Middle click.
cells, right here, it says that. So if I click here, I still don't get them back.
No, because it said fill. It says no fill. Try changing the no fill.
No, that doesn't have
No?
anything to do with it.
Okay.
That's lines. No, see, that would give it the fill, which I don't want it to do.
Okay.
So,
How would you get out of this without saving then?
without saving it,
Yes,
when I click on here. Actually, let's go back. Oh, that's not where I want to be. Share. I got out of it. Okay, let me go back into it.
because that's sometimes what, I'll do something that's like, I just can't do, the command to keep backing up. So I'm just like, okay, I just want to totally
One
get
thing
out.
that you could do with all of, and I want to open this up again, file. Okay,
Oh, there's a revert,
Yeah.
revert, but
yes. Okay, I'm gonna have to share this again. Can you see, what can you see now?
We have the expenses.
Okay. A minute. Okay, so I'm gonna do, I don't think it'll do it for me, no. So if you want to ever go back to something, you would revert to, and then you browse all versions. Because it's just like Google, Google Sheets or any Google product, any of the iWork, you can always go back to versions. So if you wanted to go back to a version, it's going to show you all the versions and you can go back. So can you see my version now? Probably not.
The same thing I see.
Okay, so let me stop share, and then I'm going to go back to share. I'm going to share this. Okay, stop share. Yeah. It's not going to do it, but what it does is it gives you all the different versions that you have, and you can go back to the version you want to go to. So that's what's nice about Macs. And you really can't do that with Excel things. I think it's getting more, if you go to 365 and you put it up on 365, if you do everything on 365, which I have a tendency not to do because 365 and Excel, it doesn't give you all the bells and whistles, and I like that. But you can go back versions, but in this case, you would be able to undo what you did if you saved it. So you can go back to a version that you like better. So let's see if I can add this. I'm gonna click on. Okay. See if I can get rid of this and get the grid lines back. Okay, I'm going to go to cell, color fill, no fill. Then I'm going to go back to table. And there are grid lines here, so let's see if I can get them back. It's not letting me. Well, I'm going to have to find out how to get the grid lines back. So I will make sure I put that in the update I have of your student guide, how to get the grid lines back when I lose them. So I'll look and find out how to do that. Okay. One thing I want to show you is how to freeze columns. So if you have a really long sheet, you want to freeze the columns so that you always have the top or you always have the columns. An easy way to freeze the columns is to just click on any of the top header right here, A, click on the down arrow, and it says freeze header columns. You can also freeze header rows if you need to, if it shows up. So right here. So I would click on freeze header columns so that if it was very long, you would be able to see it. And you can also do that from the inspector pane. And it's in table. You might have to go down. Right here. This is, if you click here, you can add header rows. So this freezes the header columns. This freezes the header rows. You can also add header rows. So if you wanted to add like 5 header rows, you could do that. And then this adds a total row. So if I wanted a total row, I can click on 1 and it takes the last row and it makes it into a total row. So that's, you can do that. And that is in your books too. Okay. Any questions?
No.
Okay, if I wanted to total something up, all I have to do is click in the cell that I want the total to appear and click the equal key on my keyboard. And it brings up the inspector right here, and the inspector has all these different things that I can do. There's over 250 functions that I can do. In most cases, what I want to do is I want to sum. So I'm going to click on sum. And I'm going to click on sum right here, and I'm going to click on insert function. So it's going to give me that. So then I'm going to drag down. And then I can hit the enter key, or I can hit the little check mark, which I'm going to do, and it brings in the total. If I wanted to just copy that to the right, all I have to do is position my cursor on that little yellow circle, and I have to drag over, and Numbers intuitively knows that, okay, she wants to sum what's above those. So it knows, just like Excel does. So, okay. Any questions?
No.
Okay, I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to go new share. I'm going to stop the share first. So I'm going to go into a new share. And I want to show you how to link cells. This is not giving me what I want. This is not giving me what I want. I stopped the share. I went to share and I want to do a numbers budget. Can you see budget now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have to do it that way. That's fine. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to link this. So I'm gonna take this out. Let's take it out. Won't let me. Let's do it that way. Okay. Take that out. And I save that. Okay. Okay, I have this budget and I just downloaded this. This is a template and it's a very good template from Numbers. So I opened it up as a template and thought, you know, this is really good. And I can put in all these different things and it will automatically updated. So let's say I make $2,000. So it's going to update it and it'll update this little chart. So I want a running total of what I do. So right here, I'm going to have housing expenses, groceries. I made a new spreadsheet. It's not part of this, but I made a new spreadsheet and I had an item, housing, groceries, transportation. If I want to, I can get rid of this column. I can always add a new column. So I have all these little things that I want to do. So I put in my rent and I'm getting new windows and I'm going to put that under household expenses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click in here, tap the enter key. I'm going to type, I don't tap the equal key, and then it'll bring up the functions and I'm just going to sum. And I'm going to click and I'll just do all the way down here. Okay. So that's $30,000. I'm going to go back to my budget. I want this to automatically update. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click in here. I'm going to tap the equal key. I'm going to go back to the running expenses. I'm going to click on the total key. And then I'm going to click on the little check mark. And it automatically will update whatever is in that. I think it's a lot easier. In Excel, it's called an absolute function, and you have to put dollar signs. You can see when I go down to the bottom, when I click here. Okay. It's not letting me for some reason. Oh, because I kept clicking on something, so shouldn't have kept clicking on that. When something goes like this, it means there's something wrong. So I'm going to go back to click here, click equal, go back here, click here, click on it. Now it goes back. So if I add something, new windows, getting a door, and the door costs $500. It's going to update. So I'm going to go back to my budget and it automatically updates. It's very easy to do, much easier, I think, than in Excel. So that's very nice. That's called linking cells. And you'll get that, and that's in your book. Do you have any questions?
No,
Okay. Did formulas. Absolutes. Okay. That's linking cells. I want to show you how to do an absolute, and you can do that fairly easily in numbers. Did I use travel expenses? Okay, I'm going to open up something called travel expenses. Can you see it?
no,
Okay. So
Sure.
that, no?
no, we're still seeing the money out and,
Okay, so I'm going to go back to share. Actually, I don't want travel expenses. I want class. Okay. Okay, this is called, can you see it?
I see a thing with district, quarter, east, north, southwest, blah, blah.
Okay, I can see that now. This is really screwy because it's, when I do sharing, I have to go up to Windows and I have to do all this stuff. So it's a little different. Okay, so I'm going to go to something called absolute. So I have all my projected sales in here. And if you click in here, you'll see that at the next one, if I click right here, you see that there is a formula in here. And it's B2 by B4 by projected increase of sales plus B2. That means that I think my sales are gonna increase by 10%. So if I change this to 20%, I'll show you how to do this then. It would increase everything by 20%. To do this, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get rid of everything that's in here. I'm gonna delete it. And I'm gonna click here. And I am going to tap the equal key. Then I'm going to highlight the sum. I'm going to hold down the shift key, press the 8th key. That is multiply. And I always wanted to multiply by whatever is in this cell right here. To make this cell, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another table, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to add another table. I'll just make it really vanilla. And I am going to make it a 1-cell table. So I'm just going to drag over here to get rid of that. I'm going to drag up. And I'm going to call it, I'll call it projected sales decrease. Decrease sales. And if I need to make this bigger, I'm going to click here. And your cursor becomes a 2-headed arrow and you drag down, and I can't really get it to do that. Can't really see it very well. Well, I could drag it down. I want to drag it down. I want it to be a 2-headed arrow, but it's not seeming to do that for me, but that's okay. Maybe I can make it bigger this way. Yeah, I'll make it bigger this way. Okay. So then I'm going to type, I'm going to click on cell. I'm going to click on data format from the cell, and I'm going to go to percentage. And I'm going to make this 10%. So I'll click here and I'll type 10. Okay, so this is decreased sales. Before it was increased sales, now it's going to be decreased sales. So now I want it to go here. So I'm going to type an equal. I'm going to type sum. I'm going to go drag this. I'm going to hold down the shift key, press the 8 key. Then I'm going to just click here. And then I'm going to add a plus, and I'm going to type B2 colon B4. I could drag, but it seemed to be very hard for me to do that. So I always want this to go back to this cell right here. So before I thought I was going to increase my sales, now I know I'm going to decrease them. So I'm going to click on the down arrow, and to make it an absolute, that means it always goes back to A2 in this table. I'm going to click on preserve row, preserve column. Then I'm going to click the little check mark. Okay, so to do this for the whole thing, I'm just going to drag down because it knows that it's going to do that. And let's see if it works this way too. May not. Yep, works that way too. So what I did is I dragged down and dragged across. So what it did is it took this column and added 10%, and the 10% is already added to this column, and it's going to add 10%, and it's going to add 10%. This is decrease, but let's put increase. Just change this to increase. This is basic. If it was decrease, if this was another class, I'd change it, but I'm not going to. So I'm gonna get in here and change this to increase sales 10%. So that's an absolute, because if I didn't do it that way, I'd get all these error signs. So I always am going back to this. So if this is like, okay, I'm going to increase sales by 50%, it's going to update the table. I don't have to do anything. I just have to change this little thing and it updates the whole thing. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay, we can do copying formulas. Okay. Sorting. Does everyone see sort?
Salesman by product?
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. So if I wanted to sort this, I would click on go to the column heading, right click on it. Or left click on it, sorry. And I can sort ascending, descending, show sort options. If I click on show short options, it's the entire table. And in this case, I think that would be fine. You can just sort by selected rows. I want to sort the entire table. So I'm going to click here. And then I'm going to sort descending. So it sorts the entire table descending by column. If I wanted to sort it ascending, I could click there. So it does it by column, not by. No, it doesn't. It's doing it by row, not by column. So grapes, no. Very strange. Well. Any questions? In most cases, you're going to do this by numbers.
No questions.
Okay. So that's in your book that I'll be sending you. Okay, collaborating. So right here, up here, you can see that this is green. That means that somebody is collaborating with me on this. That means that they can make changes or they can add comments. If the person that you want to send this to doesn't have an Apple account and you send it via email, they're not going to be able to open it. So it's better to send it as a link. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to click on collaborate. And I'm going to click on send link. It's not going to do what I wanted to. Okay, I'm going to stop to share. No, there it is. Okay, so it's going to bring up this. I want to click on copy link. Then I'm going to click on continue. Come on.
It's 3 o'clock. Community safe. Masks are required for all patrons in the kids' room.
Okay, I'm going to go to another one because it's not working correctly, but that's okay. So I'm going to share another thing. I'll go to numbers. I don't think I travel expenses. It's not going to do it for me. Okay, do you see travel expenses?
Yes.
Okay, right up here. I've never shared this with anyone, so it's grayed out. I'm going to click on collaborate. I'm going to click on copy link. And then it's going to give me share options. First of all, it's going to tell me people I can add. So I'm just going to add I'll add Sue Slamar. And then there's share options. Okay, only people you invite click this, anyone with the link. Only people will invite, they have to have an Apple account. You don't want to do that. So if you want to share somebody who doesn't have an Apple account, do anyone with link. And then can make changes, can view only. Well, I'm going to collaborate with this person, so they can make changes. You can add a password if you like. If you do add the password, you're going to have to tell the person the password probably in a phone call or something like that. And then you click on share.
We aren't seeing any of that. All I saw were your blue and green box.
Okay, so
Yeah, it wasn't showing like who you were sharing or linking it with. It wasn't showing that.
I don't think it's probably going to.
Yeah.
No, it's not going to. But it's in your book and I will send it to you. You just can share a link and it's anyone with a link and you can make changes or you can't. And that's, you don't want to send it as an email, because if you send it as an email, the person has to basically have an Apple account. So if you're working with somebody who doesn't have a Mac, they're not going to be able to open it. So you want to make sure that you send it as a link and then they'll be able to open it. They also have to have internet access because that's where it's going to be. It's not going to be on your computer. It's going to be up in the cloud. So when they make changes, it's going to be in the cloud. You have to accept the changes that they make because you are the owner and you could always go back. So if you needed to go back, you would click on file and then you'd review the history and it would give you all these different places where it was saved and you could go back. So, but you are the one who has to review the changes. So you click on file. And then, can you see this?
Revert to?
Revert to, yes. You can also export files to Excel. A PDF is a portable document file, and that means they can't change it. Excel, if it's a very vanilla, I think Excel would do a good job. But if it's not, if you've got a lot of formatting in it, it may not take it. So just see. Also, try downloading and bringing it up to Google Sheets. See if you can do it. It may not, but it may. CVS is just very vanilla, and TBS is too. So it would be something that wouldn't have any formatting in it. So you can try that. But the wonderful thing about Numbers is I think the templates. It's not as intuitive, I believe, as Excel, or it's not as powerful as Excel. I have uploaded Excel files to this though, and it's been fine. So you can do 250 functions. Pivot tables, there is something that's like pivot tables, but it's not as good. So it's like a sort thing that I saw and I thought, well, this reminds me of pivot tables, and I'm not going to show it to you because this is basics. But so if you're a heavy user of pivot tables, you might want to put something in Numbers, put it really vanilla, just have a table, download it to Excel. I wouldn't bother to put a table header on it. I would get rid of the table header. So right here, this is the table for this one. This is a chart with it. It's a template that they have. I would get rid of the title. I'd actually get rid of the chart and I would just download this table and see how it works. Because I think anytime you have anything that's very, very formatted, it might not work well with Excel because of pages, Numbers formatting. Numbers, Pages, and Keynote all work together. So it's called iWork, and that's what they do. So any questions? Okay.
No questions.
I am going to be sending you all this stuff. So did the person called owner, if they're still on, you might want to put in your email in the chat because I don't know who you are. Okay. Thank you all for coming. We
Okay.
appreciate it.